The LIBOR rate-fixing scandal has now claimed the scalp of Bob Diamond, the boss of Barclays. Here to talk about it, Peter Grant, Senior Fellow at Cass Business School. Peter, is this indicative of a serious ethical problem?
I think it is, and it's actually wider than the banking industry. It's just exaggerated in the banking industry. And a lot of it is to do with the myth of performance-related pay, which has led to these huge bonuses and the fetishization, basically, of people at the top of the industry, like Bob Diamond. Because actually, the facts are that performance-related pay and paying bonuses to people for either individual performance or improving the performance of their organizations is not founded on fact. In fact, all of the research evidence is exactly the other way, that to pay people performance-related bonuses in complex tasks actually detracts from performance. And what we're doing in the banking industry is actually rewarding perverse incentives. The fact that you give people huge salary bonuses for hitting quite simplistic financial targets actually leads to them becoming unethical and also believing themselves that they're not really doing anything wrong, that they're actually doing what everybody else does in order to achieve their bonus.
But surely that runs counter to an awful lot of business school theory, the idea that performance-related pay improves personal performance and improves organisational performance.
Indeed, but of course what it is theory. A lot of it came from economic theorists back in the 70s and 80s, but it wasn't backed by empirical research. The research that has been done, particularly by psychologists, is being ignored by most of our boardrooms, by the public sector, and I'm sorry to say, even in the voluntary sector at the moment.
In theory and practice are the same. In practice, they're not. Would tighter regulation help?
I don't really think it would. The problem is that this is so deep-seated in our society at the moment that we need to overcome that myth first before we can really tackle it with tighter legislation. I think what needs to be done is that boards particularly are given more teeth to question these sorts of issues, and that probably independence on boards is independent members on boards should be strengthened. I mean, one of the difficulties I think that happens is that faced with chief executives such as Mr. Diamond, boards don't want to argue with him, particularly British boards. You know, they're faced with this tough negotiating American who says this should be my reward package, and they don't want to interfere with it. Now perhaps they will start doing that, and maybe that is the start of changing attitudes. But I think to just impose regulation on it might even make things worse, because it would probably even more concretize in people's minds this idea that performance-related pay is a good thing. And there isn't even evidence, by the way, that individuals make much of a difference to complex organisations' performance.
One last very quick question. Surely, if there were restrictions on performance-related pay and on bonuses, an awful lot of very talented executives would simply go abroad.
Well, again, there isn't any evidence that that will happen. And actually, even if it did, that might be a good thing. Because what it would mean is that those people that were only motivated by financial reward might actually leave. And really, people don't behave like that. They're much more motivated by other things. They're much more motivated by doing a good job and understanding that what they're doing is contributing to an organisation's performance. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing after all.
Peter Grant, thank you.